Welcome back to my queer little bookish universe. I'm Anna from Black Hair Tree, here to bring you my April reading journal wrap-up. I'm starting by setting up my April cover page, which is chapter 4 in my own story about the two princes. If you're new to my videos, this year I'm telling my own story across 12 chapters. A love story between a fae prince and a human prince. Make sure to watch all my 2026 videos to follow the full story. Last month, the princes attended a royal hunt where their true identities were revealed. This is the following day when they are both drawn to the library looking for answers. Chapter 4 is titled Silence in the Library, because I am a huge nerd. If you know, you know, and if you don't, you can Google it. After the tension of chapter 3, the fae prince begins questioning whether a relationship between a human and a fae could ever be possible. In search of answers in history books, he goes to the castle library, only to find the human prince already there searching for the same answers. They are constantly aware of each other's presence, glancing over shoulders because they can't help it. For this spread, I wanted to capture that feeling. So I use warm library imagery and ivy vines, but otherwise I'm sparing on decoration. Lastly, I'm going to add some handwritten notes in the margins to get that researching old manuscripts vibe. So that's it for the princes this month. Next month things may start heating up a bit, so make sure to subscribe so you don't miss it. April turned out to be a very productive month for me. Last year I spent most of April working on my own sci-fi manuscript, and then my pace slowed down and I barely touched it for a while. But at the beginning of this April, I suddenly felt inspired to pick it up again, and I've spent most of my free time working on it ever since. Or editing rather, because editing is basically 75% of writing. Anyway, clearly there is something about April that fuels my creativity. As a result, I didn't have time to listen to a lot of books, but I do have 3 reads to share with you. The first one is Wren Martin Ruins It All by DeWitt. This is basically Simon versus the Homo sapiens agenda. There are so many similarities. Wren is a grouchy, asexual high schooler whose main focus in life right now is stopping the yearly Valentine's Day dance. Because he hates other people having fun? I don't know. He's even become student council president just so he can use his power to cancel the dance. That plan doesn't work out very well though, because his vice president Leo, the person he hates most in the world, solves the lack of money argument by bringing in a sponsor, the Buddy app, a dating app designed for making friends. Wren hates the idea, but since you should know your enemy, he downloads the app and ends up talking to an anonymous guy online. The difference between Simonverse and this book is that we know all along that the mystery guy is Leo, his nemesis. This is a very cute YA and I really enjoyed it. When I make these little title designs, I usually put them together in Photoshop on my computer. I use illustrations and stock images I find online and edit them and add little details until I'm happy with the design. Then I use an app called DaVinci Eye to trace it into my journal. I also film on my phone, so it's difficult to properly show how I do it, but it's incredibly useful for me. It saves me a lot of frustration from having to draw everything freehand, and it helps me get the proportions right from the start. Next, something completely different, Book 2 in the Omegaverse case files by C.T. Whistle. I reviewed part 1 in my March video. This series is set in an Omegaverse version of contemporary Britain, which is a really interesting setting. I explained Omegaverse in my March video, so I'm not going to go into detail about it again today. Book 2, Night Call, is Pember's story. The shy little Omega with the overbearing mother we briefly encountered in Book 1. He's now trying to break free from his mother's control while starting a new job as a crime scene investigator at the police department. Together with D.S. Blake Smith, the handsome alpha, he becomes involved investigating a serial killer targeting alphas. And honestly, it's kind of refreshing to read about a serial killer who focuses on alphas. Usually, victims of crime are children, sex workers, homeless, or other vulnerable people. I don't know if I love this one quite as much as Book 1, but it's definitely a good series and worth reading. Book 3 is about to drop on audio any minute now, so it will probably appear in my next video. next up, a new KJ Charles novel. It's a gothic mystery, so I wanted my title design to have a dramatic gothic feel. KJ Charles writes queer historical fiction, and I really enjoy her style. She manages to be funny without becoming outright comedic. Her Will Darling Adventures series is one of my all-time favorites. It was one of the very first series I included in my reading journal back when I started in 2022. I may end up making a new video about it though, because that was such a long time ago. All of Us Murderers is marketed as Crimson Peak meets Knives Out. It's a closed room mystery where a group of relatives are summoned to a gothic manor in Dartmoor to compete for a massive inheritance. Whoever can win the hand of their uncle's protege is promised the family fortune. Main character Seb is gay, has ADHD, and to make things even more awkward, his former lover happens to be the uncle's secretary. So the situation is immediately deeply uncomfortable. Seb has no interest in the inheritance or in marrying his distant cousin, but no one is allowed to leave. I got these stencils that I'm trying out for the first time. I thought black roses would fit the gothic mood perfectly. I've never actually used stencils with ink before in my life, so there's a very real chance I'm going to mess it up. I love how it turned out. Isn't that pretty? I'm definitely going to use more decorations like this in the future spreads. Because of the title, I kept waiting for people to start being murdered, Agatha Christie style, but there actually isn't a huge amount of that. Mostly it's Seb trying to escape while everyone talks endlessly about ghosts and hauntings. I'm giving the book 3 stars because it didn't exactly rock my world. But if you enjoy historical mysteries and KJ Charles, I'm pretty sure you'll still have a good time with it. I did have a lot of fun creating this spread though. I'm trying to challenge myself a little more lately and move outside my usual torn paper scrapbook aesthetic, experimenting with new styles and layout ideas. And that's it for April. 3 perfectly solid reads. As I said, things start heating up between the princes in the next chapter. Don't miss it. Thanks for watching. Bye.